If you live in a dangerous area, always carry 2 phones with you. If you get robbed, you can give them the fake phone and the thief will look ridiculous. If you're a loser and you get bullied, make friends with a homeless person. Homeless people are crazy and will defend you from bullying. If you're always sleepy in class, stop using your phone before going to bed. The light from the screen makes your brain think it's daytime and keeps you from sleeping. If you're in a country you don't know with lots of thieves, wear your backpack backwards. Everyone will think you're an idiot, but at least you won't get robbed.
How long would you survive if you only ate these foods? If you only ate hot sauce, you'd last only 5 days because your stomach would basically melt from the strong acid. If you only ate chocolate, you could last about 1 or 2 months. It has a few nutrients, but ironically, you'd die from malnutrition and severe diabetes. If you only ate instant noodles, you'd survive around a year. They have a ton of salt, which would turn your heart into a ticking time bomb. If you only ate chicken nuggets, you'd live around 15 years since the fried breading is full of bad cholesterol. But if you only ate Big Macs, you could last about 20 years because they actually have many nutrients, but not the best kind. Lastly, if you only ate pizza, you'd survive around 30 years, but it's just dough and greasy stuff, so you'd die really overweight. If the world were divided by gender, men and women would be separated at birth and the world would be split by a huge wall. The women's side would be very peaceful, though also a bit unstable. Everything would be neat and feel like living in the past, surrounded by nature, while the men's side would be the opposite. Chaos, violence, mess, fun, and big cities. Soon, curiosity would make men climb the wall. When they reached the women's side, they'd feel calm, but they'd be caught soon after. After being held for days, they would convince the women to climb the wall and show them where they came from. The women would be amazed, not understanding such an advanced world yet so chaotic. They'd destroy the wall and find balance, becoming the world we live in today.
If someone attempts to suffocate you with a pillow, just turn your head to one side and you will get a small opening to breathe. If you're kidnapped and locked inside the car's trunk, simply disconnect the brake light cables to get the police to stop the car, and kick the door as hard as you can to draw attention. Even if you don't have cell phone coverage, you can always contact 911 for an emergency, as your phone will be connected to the nearest power tower. If you come across a large pack of wolves, don't move. They will only attack if they scare you enough to make you run. Even if you're about to die of thirst, never consume large amounts of cold snow. If your stomach suddenly freezes up, you could die of hypothermia. First, get the snow melted and then drink with caution.
You arrive at your first day of school and you don't have any friends. Do this to become the most popular kid in class. Try to make your classmates laugh, but be careful. You don't want to end up being the class clown either. But there's a problem. Your classmates don't know your name. When the teacher asks a question, be the first to stand up and solve the problem on the board. If you say your name in front of the whole class, no one will forget it. On the other hand, you also want to learn about all of them, so no one sees you as a weird stranger. During the class lunch break, try to talk to every one of them, the cool kids, the nerds, and the class clowns. Finally, after school, sign up for as many extracurricular activities as possible. The true friends are made both inside and outside of school.
A child swallowed 31 magnets from a toy bracelet in 2016, which ended up getting stuck inside his stomach. If the magnets had connected, they could have damaged all his organs, causing severe harm and deadly infections. The doctors inserted a very thin tube with a camera through his mouth to reach the stomach, and they passed a powerful magnet through the tube to pull the metal balls out of the child's body, managing to save his life without any damage to his organs. If you're in a building and about to use the elevator, don't get in if there are more than 8 people. The cables won't support the weight and you'll be crushed. If you get tied up and thrown into the sea, don't try to undo the knot with your teeth. You'll waste too much time and run out of air. First move your head to float, then untie yourself. If you're in a fire and there's smoke everywhere, cover your nose with a cloth and crawl on the ground. The clean air stays low and the toxic smoke rises. If you're on a plane that makes an emergency landing on water, don't inflate your life vest inside the plane. You could get stuck at the door and die while drowning. If you come across a lot of stray cats, do not give them food. They'll think you have infinite food and they'll follow you to your house to live with you. If your front door is open and has scratch marks on the lock, lock the door completely and call the police. A group of thieves is trapped inside your house. If your car won't start, ask a friend to push the car. If the wheels are moving, the engine will be able to start. If you're gross and don't clean your hair, cut it off now. Your hair has rotted and it's the perfect home for lice. If you're dying of hunger, look for trees with soft and moist leaves. If you suck on them, you'll gain energy but they won't kill you.
If you're trapped on a deserted island, don't drink water from brown coconuts. They have oils that will make you dehydrated. It's better to look for green coconuts that are about to fall. If someone comes up to ask you for the time, don't check it on your phone. It's a trick thieves use to steal your stuff. If someone takes a picture of you and your eyes look white, run to the nearest doctor. It's very likely you could have cancer. If you're at the beach and see a purple flag, get out of the water as fast as you can. There are very dangerous animals that could eat you. In 2024, this guy posted a video about a blade that got stuck in his fish tank, but people noticed he had a white stripe on his nail, and they told him to go to the doctor ASAP because that could be skin cancer. The crazy thing is he is an X-ray tech, and that's the exact finger he uses to press the button that releases the radiation. So he went to the doctor to get some tests, and when the results came back, it was nothing.
If the parents of your rich friend invite you to dinner at their house, do this so you don't embarrass yourself. Turn off your phone, place a napkin over your lap, and patiently wait until everyone has their food to begin. However, you're lost because there are too many knives and forks. Remember, first outside, then inside. Start with a smaller fork and knife for the first course, and take the regular fork and knife for the main course. But when do we use the spoon? Apparently, the spoon must face away from you and be used outward. If you're going to hand over some food, pass it counterclockwise. Finally, when you have finished your meal, set your fork and knife across the plate and subscribe to Big Dan Baby.
These are children who discovered something by accident. A girl went to her grandmother's house to help her clean out the basement. Since it was full of piled up stuff, the girl had to climb up onto the shelves to bring down the heaviest boxes. Then, one of the shelves heavily collapsed and fell, tearing a big hole in the wooden floor. When the grandmother went to look at the mess, both were surprised to find the remains of a man under the floor. When they called the police, they confirmed that he was indeed a bad criminal who had escaped from prison, and that he had undoubtedly died of starvation after becoming trapped under the house.
Inside the killer's teapot, there are two chambers. One is filled with tea and the other with poison. If you cover the hole from the poison chamber, you will block the airflow, causing the poison not to be released, and only the tea will pour into the cup. But if you cover the hole from the tea chamber, only the poison will be able to pour into your enemy's cup. By covering both holes, no liquid will come out of the teapot, and if you don't cover either, both liquids will mix as they pour. If you think a passenger is going to hijack your plane, this is what you need to do. First, make sure you're not just being paranoid. Is the passenger sweating? Maybe he's just hot. Is he rude and using swear words? He might just be nervous flying for the first time on a plane. But if he's doing all of that while looking suspiciously at the flight attendant, you've probably discovered a terrorist. First, press the call button and alert the flight attendant about the hijacker's suspicious behavior. If the terrorist notices you, don't try to confront him verbally or physically. Instead, stay calm and listen to the flight attendant. They are trained to defuse situations on the plane and use tools to eliminate any threat. Also, the pilots are trained to lock the cockpit door and not open it for anyone under any circumstances.
People who ate really weird things. A boy ordered a Happy Meal at McDonald's for his birthday. He started with fries and nuggets, saving his favorite for last, a cheeseburger. But on the first bite, he felt something moving in his mouth. There were several gross worms squirming in the burger. The boy's parents sued the place and got $1 million. But this girl ordered her favorite burrito at Taco Bell. She was very hungry, and near the end, something cut her lip. When she moved the lettuce, she found a very rusty razor blade. The workers did not know how it got there, but the girl got one free burrito per day for a whole year.
If your cat grew to the size of a tiger, you might think it would look very cute, but it would weigh more than 300 kilograms. And unlike a wild animal, it would not be afraid of you at all. One small jump could crush your lungs, and a gentle bite might easily shatter your bones. While playing, it could swat your head around like a toy and end up breaking your neck. And when it finished playing with you, it might fall asleep on top of you and accidentally suffocate you to death.
How many bites from these animals would kill you? If a spider bit you, it would have to bite you more than 50 times to send you to the grave. It would give you a fever, hallucinations, and total paralysis. With bees, about 800 stings would be needed. You would go blind, swell up like a ball, and the venom would suffocate you until it killed you. For ants to kill you, they would have to sting you about 2,000 times. To have an anaphylactic shock, meaning you would feel like you're being burned alive. With a scorpion, a single sting would be enough to finish you off. But with 5 stings, you'd only have about 30 minutes to live. Finally, a crocodile. It all depends on where it bites you, but on average, with only 2 bites, you would go to the afterlife, though it would keep biting you.
Some kids started throwing rocks off a cliff, but what they didn't know was that a professional climber was making his way up the mountain. He was about to reach the top when one of the rocks, about the size of a bowling ball, struck him violently right on the head. His climbing partner tried to help him and save his life, but realized there was nothing he could do. The kid who threw the rock confessed to his crime, but despite the killing, no one pressed charges against the boy. If the ice starts to crack, you should immediately stretch out your arms before you fall through. This will help you grab onto the edge and stop your whole body from submerging. But if you do end up sinking, you'll probably get disoriented and lose your sense of direction. In that state of panic, you might accidentally swim away from the original hole, getting trapped under the ice. It's better to stay calm and look for rays of light to find the hole and dig your way back out.
People who ate weird things. In 2004, a boy ordered a box of Oreos all for himself. He always followed the same routine. He'd pull apart the Oreo, lick the cream, and eat the rest with a small glass of milk. But on his 21st cookie, he felt something different, and he spit it out only to discover a dead spider in the cream. The boy called the company, but he didn't have any photos of the spider and couldn't prove it. But this woman bought a huge 5-piece KFC bucket and took it home. She was very hungry, and since she was watching TV, she didn't realize that one of the pieces was actually a fried rat. The woman recorded a video and exposed the restaurant, and they had no choice but to close.
This is what happens when you go to prison in other countries. In Russia, the first thing they do is take your clothes and make you shower to stop bacteria from entering the prison. Once you are clean, they give you a new set of clothes and they force you to stay in quarantine for 15 days. But in Japan, prisoners are treated just like slaves and they are forced to work. Their schedule starts at 6 in the morning and ends at 9 at night. This schedule includes 9 hours of work, 3 meals, and 3 hours of free time. Very different from prisons in Norway, where they have access to a private bathroom, a flat screen TV, and a window with beautiful landscapes. Also, the guards allow you to wear your own clothes and receive 3 visits a week from friends and family. A young child was playing on a beach in the United Kingdom when he dug up several small bones. At first, his parents thought they were chicken bones or from a small animal, but the child ended up digging up a human hand. The family told the authorities and the area was closed off for police analysis. It turned out the remains belonged to a woman missing for over 20 years. The case had not been solved because the woman was last seen more than 300 kilometers from the beach, and if it were not for the child, they would have never solved the case.
If everything goes silent and many animals start running around aimlessly, it means an earthquake is about to start. If a car lightly bumps into your trunk, don't stop to talk to the driver. They could be criminals that hit you on purpose to rob all your money. If you get offered a perfume sample on the street, cover your nose and don't breathe. It's actually chloroform meant to knock you out and kidnap you without drawing attention. If your house starts smelling like rotten eggs for no reason, turn off all the flames in your house. There's a gas leak, and if you use a lighter, you'll blow into smithereens. If you're going down a water slide and you see a nail in the way, try your hardest to dodge it. If you hit it at full speed, you'll look ridiculous. If you're about to drive but you're dangerously tired, don't try to turn the music up to stay awake. Your brain will turn off anyway and you could have an accident. If you run into someone who's wanted by the police, do not panic and don't make eye contact. Just act normal while you secretly call 911. If you're being chased by a killer and need to escape without being seen, walk backward to leave reverse footprint. That'll confuse the killer and you'll fool him.
If you escape from prison and the police chase you with dogs, jump in a river and take off your clothes. The water will wash away your scent and the dogs won't be able to follow your trail. If you live in a country with a lot of earthquakes, never sleep next to a window. During earthquakes, windows often break and a shard of glass could cut you in half. If you're stuck inside a sinking car, open the window to let water fill the car. This will equalize the pressure inside and outside the car and you'll be able to open the door without any problem. If you're lost in the woods and eat poisonous berries, take 2 fingers on your hand and stick them deep down your throat. This will force your body to vomit and expel the poison.
If you used humans as bricks and built a bridge all the way to the moon, many people believe you'd get there without any trouble. But is that true? Look, humans have an average height of 1.7 meters, and the distance between the moon and the Earth is 380,000 kilometers. Even if you could use the 8 billion human beings on the planet stacked in one single column to the moon, you'd only end up with a bridge 13,600 kilometers long. That is only 4% of the distance, and keeping it stable would be impossible.
Why does school feel like a prison? First, they take you on a very big bus packed with people, and they check you in with a uniform as soon as you arrive. Then you have to wait in a small room while they watch you constantly until you finish all your assigned tasks. The food at school is just as bad as prison food. They split you into groups and you have to ask to go to the bathroom, but if you talk back, you get punished. Then they detain you so you can speak with the highest authority. Plus, you only get 15 minutes of recess to play soccer. As if that weren't enough, most schools are built by the same companies that build prisons. So it's no surprise most schools feel like a prison.
Guess which of your classmates gets the best grades? This is Big. When he gets to class, he grabs his notebook and starts taking notes while the teacher explains the subject. Big copies every word the teacher says. In the meantime, Dan doesn't take notes when the class starts, since he waits for his teacher to finish explaining each topic, so he can write the notes using his own words. Several studies claim that students like Dan get better grades. He understands the topics better, and he is subscribed to Big Dan Baby.
In 2001, a thief got completely stuck in a chimney while he was trying to rob a house, and the homeowner, unaware there was someone inside, lit a big fire. The chimney quickly filled with black smoke and extreme heat, and the thief began to scream and call for help. But the fire and smoke had grown so intense that they drowned out his cries. When the firefighters arrived at the scene of the crime, they discovered the lifeless body of the thief inside the chimney.
Toys that have saved lives. In 2016, a couple of children were playing with water guns when the building where they lived caught fire. They loaded their water guns and started spraying water directly onto the fire. When the firefighters arrived, the fire was practically extinct. In 2017, a wife grabbed a knife to attack her husband. The man grabbed his lightsaber and defended himself from the attacks, escaping the scene without a single scratch. In 2020, a little girl was playing with her toy car in the backyard. When a raccoon suddenly appeared and attacked her, she hit it with the toy car and managed to escape with no harm.
This is the difference between a jail and a prison. When a judge sentences you, they let you choose between going to jail or to prison. But which one is better? First, comfort. The cells in a jail are designed to hold inmates for just a year or less. So the bed and the bathroom are poor quality and are usually dirty. But prison cells are meant for people serving many years or even life. And they have better quality beds and a window with natural light. Second, privacy. A prison usually has a lot more security guards than a jail, because in prison there are the most dangerous criminals on the planet. Also, there are security cameras recording 24 hours a day. Lastly, entertainment. In jail, you can't do anything while you sit bored waiting, but in prison there are soccer fields, a gym, and even a giant TV. If you're completely stuck in a water slide that's filling up with water, most people think that they should try to climb back up. But the surface is so slippery that climbing is nearly impossible. Instead, concentrate on staying calm. You can try to create an air pocket by lifting your head slightly. If the water keeps rising, use your hands to push yourself downward. If you can't move, hold your breath until the slide fills up completely with water. Once the pressure has equalized, try to float down through the water until you reach the end of the slide. Don't let anyone give you a free bracelet if you're traveling through Europe. They'll tie the bracelet very tightly so you can't take it off and demand a lot of money for it. If you're on the street and you step on a nail, don't pull it out even if it hurts a lot. Removing it will leave the wound open and you could bleed to death. If you're in the sea and the currents drag you forcefully, don't swim against the current. You'll use up all your energy and drown. Instead, let yourself drift and you'll float back to shore. Forget about starting a fire if you're lost in the jungle at night. The wild jungle tribes will find you and they'll eat you alive. If you're at a funeral that's very sad, don't try to cheer people up by saying a joke. You won't be funny and you'll make things worse. If you're going to scare your friend, never do it in a public place. You might scare the wrong person and get yourself into trouble. If you're at the movies and the person behind starts kicking your seat, don't start a fight in the middle of the movie. Instead, ask to switch seats with the one behind them and do the same. If you're walking your dog on a hot, sunny day, touch the ground with your hand for 10 seconds. If it burns your hand, your dog will also suffer burns during the whole walk. If a scammer calls you on the phone, do this to trick him. First, never accept a call from an unknown number, but if you've already picked up, do not say the word yes, because they might be recording the call, and use your yes to gain access to your bank account. Instead, don't say anything at all. If they say they're going to give you free money, and ask you to press 1 to receive the money via transfer, don't do it. By pressing a button, you'll give the scammer access, and they'll be able to control your phone line, which is very dangerous. For example, if you get a phone call from your real bank, the scammer can reroute the call to their phone instead of yours, while using a fake voice in order to pretend to be you and steal all your information. Do this to spot a fake police officer. First, check if his clothes are stained or wrinkled, and whether he wears a police cap or has a portable radio. Real police officers always wear a cap, so civilians that are in danger can easily recognize them. Also, they're required to wear a clean uniform and carry a radio. But don't just look at their appearance, also check their car. Real police cars have reflective decals on the sides and front in perfect condition. However, fake police cars usually don't have stickers and are often dirty. Now, watch the behavior of the officer. Fake cops are always nervous in case they get found out. If you ask for his ID, he'll get upset and angry with you. A real cop will always show you his badge and will let you call 911 to verify their identity. A man jumped into a fiery volcano in front of a large crowd. This man was convinced he was a god and wanted to give everyone proof. And he thought that jumping into an active volcano would demonstrate his immortality. But instead of proving that he was a god, the man just vanished into the fire and lava. Later, the volcano spit out one of his shoes, confirming that he had died and that he wasn't actually a god after all.
A fan threw an object that looked like a very convincing rubber bat on stage during the concert, and on impulse, the singer Ozzy Osbourne picked it up and took a bite, believing it was a toy. But to his surprise, the bat turned out to be real, and when he ripped its head off with his teeth, he realized his mistake. When noticing the bat's blood entering his mouth, they urgently took him to the hospital right after the concert ended to inject the antidote against rabies.
How to always win at tic-tac-toe. If at the start of the game you go in the center and your opponent doesn't mark a corner, you've automatically won. Just play in the corners and you'll get a double chance to win. If conversely your opponent marks a corner on their first turn and doesn't make any mistakes during the game, you can only hope for a draw. First, play randomly and then protect all the spaces where they could make 3 in a row. On the other hand, if your first move is in a corner and your opponent doesn't play in the center, mark the closest corners and in 2 or 3 moves you'll have won. If your opponent doesn't respond in the center space, it's impossible to win. But if you don't make any mistakes, you'll draw 100% of the game. Finally, if your opponent starts the game, do the opposite of everything I just explained to you. Why does clothing look darker when it's wet? I mean, water isn't dark, so why does it make clothes look darker? The reason we can see fabric in the first place is because it reflects light. But when we pour water on the fabric, it becomes more translucent, and the gaps between the threads shrink. This makes the fabric absorb more light instead of reflecting it, making it look darker when it's wet. How to find out the meaning of your dream. If you fall in a dream just before waking up, it means you have a lot of anxiety and your brain is warning you about something. Dreaming about a dead relative or friend means you haven't accepted their death yet and need to say goodbye. On the other hand, if you transform into an animal, it means you need to explore more aspects of your personality. For example, turning into a wolf means you need to develop your aggression more. Finally, when your teeth fall out in a dream, it reflects that you have many insecurities about your appearance and hate looking in the mirror. How to always win at rock, paper, scissors. The best move against a man is paper, and against a woman, rock, since the average man picks rock for its strength, while women choose scissors because of... When someone wins at rock, paper, scissors, they usually repeat the same move in the next round. But if they lose, it's very likely they'll change their strategy. So, if you win a round, repeat your opponent's move. If you lose, throw what neither of you picked. If it's a tie, repeat your own move. Lastly, if you must win no matter what, hit your palm with an open hand, not a closed fist, before the match. Your opponent's subconscious will make them choose scissors and you'll win with rock. A thief broke into a supermarket in 2008, and while escaping, he was surprised to see a giant lollipop. The man thought it was real, but when he licked the lollipop, he realized it was fake. However, his tongue left a clue for the police, because the tongue, just like fingerprints, has a unique pattern. The investigators took the tongue print from the lollipop to identify the thief, and a few days later, the police put him in jail. If you're in a forest and you don't hear any sound, hide as fast as possible. A very large animal is about to attack you. If you break a power tower, don't lift your feet off the ground. An electromagnetic field has formed, and if you're not touching the ground, you'll die. If an app shows up on your phone that you don't recognize, delete it immediately. It's very likely that it's stealing your information. If you're diving and feel like vomiting, try to throw up inside your mask. If you take it off, you'll swallow salt water and die.
A fan threw an object that looked like a realistic rubber bat on stage during a rock concert, and on impulse, the singer Ozzy Osbourne picked it up and took a bite, believing it was a toy. But to his shock, the bat was actually real. When he pulled his head off with his teeth, he realized he had made a serious mistake as the bat's blood began entering his mouth. They urgently took him to the nearest hospital right after the concert ended so they could inject the vaccine against rabies. If you see money falling from a building, don't try to pick it up and get out of there as soon as possible. It's a common trick used by terrorists to bring many people together in one place. If your drink smells like cinnamon, don't drink it. It's very possible that it's been poisoned. If you're in a forest and you don't have anything to eat, find yellow dandelions. They are 100% edible. If you're stuck inside a free-falling elevator, lie on your back and cover your face. If you see a bunch of white hairs on your banana, don't eat it. It's a spider's nest. If the air starts to smell like chlorine during a storm, it means lightning is going to strike very close at any moment. If you're eating fruit and it tastes like hair, there's a good chance you're allergic.
Why does school feel like a prison? First, they take you on a very big bus packed with people, and they check you in with a uniform as soon as you arrive. Then you have to wait in a small room while they watch you constantly until you finish all your assigned tasks. The food at school is just as bad as prison food. They split you into groups and you have to ask to go to the bathroom, but if you talk back, you get punished. Then they detain you so you can speak with the highest authority. Plus, you only get 15 minutes of recess to play soccer. As if that weren't enough, most schools are built by the same companies that build prisons, so it's no surprise most schools feel like a prison. Some kids started throwing rocks off a cliff, but what they didn't know was that a professional climber was making his way up the mountain. He was about to reach the top when one of the rocks, about the size of a bowling ball, struck him violently right on the head. His climbing partner tried to help him and save his life, but realized there was nothing he could do. The kid who threw the rock confessed to his crime, but despite the killing, no one pressed charges against the boy.
Guess which of your classmates gets the best grades? This is big. When he gets to class, he grabs his notebook and starts taking notes while the teacher explains the subject. Big copies every word the teacher says. In the meantime, Dan doesn't take notes when the class starts, since he waits for his teacher to finish explaining each topic so he can write the notes using his own words. Several studies claim that students like Dan get better grades. He understands the topics better, and he is subscribed to Big Dan Baby. If you're a dirty guy and don't wash your hair, cut it off right now. Your hair is rotted, and it's the perfect place for lice. If you are getting bullied and you're afraid of dying, punch them in the back of their heads. If you kill them, they'll stop bullying you. If they kill you, they'll stop bullying you. If you walk in your house and find thieves stealing, lock the door from the outside and burn the house. If the thieves manage to escape, the police will only have to look for suspects with burns on their skin. If you're an idiot and put cutlery inside the microwave, get out of there as fast as you can. If the waves touch the metal, your whole house will blow up.
How to get an A on every exam. Prepare 5 boxes and 100 questions. Box number 1 is studied every day. Number 2 is studied every 2 days. Number 3 is studied every 4 days. Number 4 is studied every 8 days. And number 5 is studied every 14 days. All of the questions start in box 1. If you answer one correctly, it moves to the next box. On the other hand, if you get it wrong, it goes back to box number 1.
Unethical ways to make money. Download a fake live streaming app and make your screen look like a live Twitch stream, making it seem like you have thousands of viewers. Walk into a jewelry store pretending you're a famous YouTuber and that you are streaming. Approach the owner and show him all the people watching your stream so that you are treated like a star. Now tell the man you'll promote him to your millions of followers in exchange for a gold chain. The owner will accept without hesitation, and you will walk around the store focusing on the jewelry and stating the store's address. Later, you can sell the gold chain for $10,000 and become a millionaire. If you see a service dog coming up to you, follow it immediately. It's asking for your help to save its owner's life. If a thief breaks into your home, don't turn the lights on or make any noise. You know your house better than he does, and you can attack him by surprise in the dark. If you start coughing, raise your arms above your head and count from 1 to 5. This will help clearing your lungs and will stop the coughing. If you wake up with a really strong headache, go and drink water as soon as possible. Your body got dehydrated overnight and your brain is trying to alert you.
How do you know what your dreams mean? If you dream of falling right before you wake up, it means that you have a lot of anxiety and your brain is trying to warn you. Dreaming about someone who has passed means you're still processing his loss and need to say goodbye to him. On the other hand, if you turn into an animal, it suggests that you should discover other parts of your personality. For example, transforming into a wolf means that you need to work on becoming more aggressive. Finally, when your teeth fall out in a dream, it suggests that you have many worries about your looks and hate looking in the mirror.
The parents of your rich friend invite you to sleep at their house. Do this so you don't look ridiculous. Bow down to say hello. Leave your shoes outside before you go in and don't take photos or ask the price of any luxurious object. If you break something by mistake, don't hide it. It is very likely that they have security cameras all over the house. On the other hand, if you need anything, ask the butler for it and never the parents, because it's considered disrespectful. However, you're confused because in the bathroom you find too many towels. Remember, if they are bigger, it's better. Use the smallest towel to wash your hands, the medium one to dry your face, and the large one for your whole body. Finally, never open the windows after 12 o'clock. It is very likely that you will activate an alarm system and get everyone out of bed.
If your hand starts moving on its own and tries to choke you, it's very likely that you have a disease known as alien hand syndrome. This rare disorder happens when the part of your brain that connects both hemispheres is damaged. This causes the nerves in your hand to activate involuntarily, causing it to move on its own. And although choking yourself is very rare, your alien hand can perform random tasks without your permission.